Past few weeks, I've been spending some time sharing with you about the reality of God's call in stewardship in our lives during this month of October, and spent some time sharing with you about the heart and giving all of our heart to the Lord. Spent some time with you last week sharing about talent and how God has called us to share our gifts for Him and for the good of others. And today I want to spend some time sharing with you about the gift of time. Time is one of the greatest gifts that God gives us, and it seems like we're aware of that the older we get, whatever your age might be. When I was young, it was like, man, sometimes I was so bored, time would just go on forever. And the older I get, which I know, of course, is a relative term, but the older I get, I've noticed how much time seems to go by so quickly. And so I want to share with you the following story, true story, that illustrates this. John Wimber, who was the founding pastor of the Vineyard Churches, shares the story of a wonderful woman of faith by the name of Margie Morton. John had known her for a number of years, and she was faithful in so many different ways. She had suffered with brain tumors over a number of years, and her condition worsened. John prayed for her all the time, and as he was praying for her one day, he felt God saying to him, "You taught Margie how to live. Now you must teach her how to die." When John heard that, he didn't like that. John had a tremendous gift of faith, saw many miracles in his life. And so for him to hear this from God was a very difficult thing to hear. But he obeyed. The doctors actually wanted to do treatments that might extend her life. The treatments would cause a lot of additional suffering without really extending her life that much more. John suggested that her time might be better spent at home with family, sharing their love for one another instead of continuing to fight the cancer. And that's what she chose to do. After 8 weeks and a final prayer with her family, she took a shower, put on a new nightgown, and declared, "I'm going to meet my King." And she did. And so, our sister in faith, Margie, who one day we will see again, along with our brother John and others who have gone before us, illustrate a really, really powerful reality, and that is that death is a new beginning for the believer. The reality is it doesn't take away the struggle of death. And how when somebody that we love and that we're close to dies, it is a painful thing. It's hurtful. We want them to still be with us. And those are all very normal and natural and beautiful human feelings. And yet the other reality for us is just as true as believers, that for someone who knows the Lord Jesus and who passes on, it really is a new beginning for them in some beautiful and incredible and wonderful ways. And also the other reality I think about death is one of the best teachers about life. In fact, Psalm 90, verse 12, the psalmist shares the following: "Teach us to number our days, that I may gain a heart of wisdom." Teach me to number my days, that I may gain a heart of wisdom. And in fact, earlier on in that psalm in verse 10, he shares about the reality. We may live 70 to 80 years. They quickly pass by us and we fly away. Now, some of you here today might be in your 50s, 60s. Some of you would like to be in your 50s and 60s again. The reality is for all of us, we're at a different season in life. We're at a different age. And yet, again, as I shared before my message today, the reality is it seems like the older that we get, the more we appreciate time and how short time is. One of the great illustrations for me is if you go out onto the Gulf later on today or sometime this week, and you're there on the beach, try to pick up 1 grain of sand. It's a hard thing to do. But try to pick up just 1 grain and put that in your hand, that 1 grain of sand. And as you look at that 1 grain of sand, look out upon all of the grains of sand that are on the beach in front of you, the shore, And then imagine as well all of the grains of sand out into the Gulf and all the oceans of the world and all the sands that encompass our entire earth. And that, to me, is a picture of our earthly life, that grain of sand in our hand, and the eternity of all the sands that are upon the beaches and upon this world. So you see, if we are open to God giving us the grace to teach us to number our days, to begin to have a perspective of how fleeting and short our time here is on earth, we will indeed gain a heart of wisdom. We'll begin to look at our life differently, and we'll begin to live our life differently in a way that I think that's very, very important. Once we realize that our days are short, we not only look at life differently, but we begin to embrace it as the precious gift that it is. You know, again, if you look at the young, if you watch kids play, they don't have a care in the world. They're just thinking about the ball they want to get from their sister or running around here and there and darting here and there. They're just having a great time in life. They're not thinking about the end of their life. It's not even on their mind. And yet for those who are older, those who have been around for a while, the older you get, you realize you have less and less time. Life is a precious gift infused with a divine purpose. And again, our prayer here today is that God would teach us to number our days, that we might gain a heart of wisdom. I know many of you have heard of people that have had near-death experiences. And maybe you've even read books about that, or you've seen interviews on TV, or you've actually talked to a person who's had one of those experiences. And I don't know about you, but as I've heard those stories have been so encouraging to me. And the reason why they've been encouraging to me is it gives me a sense that our faith is not in vain, but our faith is real. That there are people that have died for a period of time, they've come back to life, and almost uniformly they share a story of a divine experience where something has happened to them that has literally changed their life. When they come back almost to a person, they have a sense that they've been spared for a purpose, that there's a reason why they were given a second chance. In their experience of God, there is sometimes a sense of repentance of sin. There's a sense that they really haven't lived their life to the fullest, and that their destiny is not over yet. Also, they have a reality when they come back to life that they pursue that purpose in life with an energy that they never had before. And they share that with other people that are around them. People that have come back to life in these near-death experiences almost feel compelled to share their story with other people. I mean, that's part of the journey. That's part of coming back, is to let other people know what they've gone through and the change that they've had, both inside and out. And the other thing that I've noticed in these stories about people that have had near-death experiences is that love motivates their purpose. There's a sense of love, a sense of embracing of life, a sense of embracing God, and they care about other people that wasn't present before they had this near-death experience. The relationship with God and others is changed and transformed. And so again, one of the things that I think that is an invitation for you and I to realize in these stories that people share is this sense of uniformity. These people have not met each other. These people a lot of times don't know each other. And yet it amazes me how consistent some of the themes of their stories are. Tom Severance's near-death experience occurred when he was actually helping a mentally ill vagrant. As he was helping this person turned on him, attacked him, and severely cut him with a knife and smacked him over the head with a rock. And he was actually dead for a period of time. During this time of being dead, he shares the following experience. They say your life flashes before your eyes when you're near death, and it does. I felt the Spirit of God searching through my days, looking at my life through the lens of eternity. How true is that? That's exactly how God will look at your life and my life when we're before him. He will look at our lives through the lens of eternity. Because God is an eternal being, and that is the perspective that God has on all of human life from the perspective of eternity. You see, that really rings true to me. I saw myself standing before the judgment seat of Christ, and I knew from the Lord's look in his eyes that he was saying to me, how much love did I pour out into you? And how much of it flowed out of you to others? I felt convicted and asked the Lord for the chance to go back and to get life right. And obviously, from sharing this experience, God granted him that request. You know, our God is a God of second chances. And I don't know where you are in life right now, but my sense is for a lot of people out of the season that we've been through over the past few months, there are a number of people that are despairing their life. There are a number of people who wonder whether they want to continue with life. There are a number of people wondering, in reality, how much more life they have left, and whether life in its present form and in what is to come is really worth living. And what I want to share with you here today in terms of the stewardship of your time is to realize the incredible gift that God has given you in the gift of your life. And that God has given you a destiny. And that all that has happened over the past few months does not change that one bit. God's desire for you, God's plans for you, God's hope for you, however much time God has given you upon this earth, however much is left, God is excited about that. And he wants you to be excited as well. And to begin to look at your life from this moment on with a sense of grace and with a hope and with an expectation. The good news is you don't have to have a near-death experience to apply this message today. Father Joe, I haven't had the near-death experience. I guess I got to have this experience to really know what you're talking about. No, you do not have to have a near-death experience. But one of the things you and I can pray into is Psalm 90:12. Lord, would you please begin to help me number my days, that I may gain a heart of wisdom. Help me to learn that whether I'm 50 or 60 or younger than that, or 70 or 80 or 90, maybe even 100, there's some people that are aging well here in Naples.